In the Celtic Sea, there's an island prison that's become known as Ireland's Alcatraz. But unlike the well-documented stories from The Rock, the horrors that went down on Spike Island are only now being revealed. Turns out the convicted who were unlucky enough to end up there suffered torture not only in life, but also in death. In Southern Ireland, at the mouth of the River Lee, you'll find the city of Cork, dotted with ornate churches, charming bridges, and stately manors. But off the coast of Cork, there's a 104-acre plot that holds the secrets behind one of Ireland's greatest tragedies. This is Spike Island. At the turn of the 19th century, the British, who controlled Ireland at the time, built a fort here to protect their harbor and fleet. In 1847, at the height of the Great Famine, they convert the fort into a prison. The famine devastates Ireland. Food is scarce, and some turn to petty crime to feed themselves. The oppressive British forces show little sympathy for the starving masses and incarcerate thousands, even for minor offenses. Today, the Spike Island Archaeological Project from Cork's University College is finishing up the most extensive investigation ever attempted at what is often referred to as Ireland's Alcatraz.
By 1850, it was one of the largest prisons in the world. There were over 2,300 men incarcerated here, and the space was really completely inadequate.
These are the ruins of the infamous A Block, where over 150 years ago, prisoners like Edmond Power did the hardest time. It's 1852. 18-year-old orphan Edmond Power is sentenced to 10 years in prison for stealing a cow. Since age 14, he's had the occasional run-in with the law over stealing food, but this time it gets him sent to Spike Island, the prison that criminals fear most.
We know that they subsisted on milk and bread 6 days a week. Milk and bread is fine for a day or two, but to do that most days of the year will leave you malnourished.
Another problem that inmates encounter is a staff of vicious guards, like the notorious William Reddy. Reddy and the other guards have a fairly simple system of rewards and punishments. Good marks lead to favored treatment. Everything else leads to pain.
There were two levels of punishment cells on Spike Island. There was the ordinary punishment cell, which had a window and a door, and then there were the dark cells. No sunlight coming in. It was literally a place where nobody could hear you scream.
One day, Reddy confuses Power with another convict that was causing trouble and sentences him to a 3-day stint in solitary. Inside the dark cell, Power's body and his mind start to break. And according to legend, he is pushed to the brink. Soon after he's released back into the general population, Power gets his hands on an iron bar, which he uses to bash in the skull of William Reddy. For his crime, Edmond Power is sentenced to hang. While awaiting his fate, he hears stories of the so-called Spike Island Death House, where dying is not a relief, but just the beginning of an even more gruesome torture. Rumor has it that someone on Spike Island is performing unauthorized autopsies on the prisoners' corpses to test a radical theory about the nature of the criminal mind. In the 19th century, there were doctors who hypothesized that criminal tendencies were an inherited trait, like eye color or height. But how do you test something like that? Spike Island could have been an ideal place to do this research. After all, if someone needed the corpses of criminals, there were plenty available in the death house. The university research team working on Spike Island has been excavating a small cemetery where they found evidence that the dead bodies of convicts were definitely tampered with.
This skull here is one of 4 that have been autopsied. The autopsy always involves taking the top of the skull off. So it looks like they're looking at the prisoner brain and trying to understand if there was a biological basis to criminality.
For the record, that theory was disproven in the early 1900s, and modern science now agrees it's complete nonsense. As for Spike Island, stories of the horrible conditions and unethical practices eventually spread across Ireland. Public sympathy leads to the release of several prisoners who, it turns out, escaped a fate worse than death. Prisoners including Edmond Power. Power leaves Spike Island in 1881 after evidence comes to light that he may have killed Reddy due to mental incapacitation from extreme stress and malnutrition. Spike Island Prison is officially closed in 2004.
People often ask me, how can I understand more about Ireland during the Great Famine? And I just say, easy, go to Spike Island. You see the whole story.